Hello everyone, I'm Chester44, also known as Fly, and welcome to this Let's Play of Citizen Sleeper. Last episode, we made our way and arrived on the Eye, as it's called. Our body is damaged, we don't have much energy, and we managed to work to gain a little bit of money, but that's all we got. Aside from that, we need to explore and find a way to heal ourselves. There may be a source somewhere over there, but we'll deal with that later. For now, we need to rest. We'll regain what capabilities we can, and then figure out what we're gonna do next. This time you don't wake up. Instead, the ghost of the station, that shifting skeletal ring, surrounds you. For a moment you are gone, absent from your own body, stretched out across a colorless void. Then the connections begin to establish themselves, threads tugging on the edge of your mind. These threads become vectors of exchange and then extensions as you feel your thoughts slipping away down them, dissolving into the millions of distributed nodes they connect to. You see the station. No. You feel the station, like a web of texture in a smooth black liquid. Observe it. Even though you have no eyes, no sight, you feel the map of the station. No, not the map of the station, but the map of its connections. It is a looped cloud with spokes and spires that jut out into space. It is an ingrown thing full of obsolete loops and severed pathways. It is a system, a map, and a territory, all at once. You notice a tugging feeling pulling at you insistently, as if it were a small child. Somehow it is pulling in two directions at once. You look down. All of a sudden everything shuts off. You come back trembling into this unfamiliar body, both yours and not yours, all at once. You find yourself standing in the container, eyes now open to the dark steel walls. You feel a change within you, a shift. You close your eyes for a second and you feel it waiting there, the station splayed out across your mind, a storm of connective nodes waiting to be explored. And then it is gone. 2 3s and a 2. Ugh, that is not good. We need to find a source. Oh! One thing I can look at. Skills. That's something we can do here. We need upgrade points to do that. And we are going to need it in order to no longer have the endure penalty. But we can get a +1 or even a +2 on various things. And we can get extra skills and abilities. Let's see. Random scrap item on engineer actions might not be useful, especially once we get to the second one. Currently we have a chance to gain cryo on interface actions, which isn't bad. Endure will allow us to sunbathe will allow us to sunbathe to gain energy at home. Intuit. Dice actions display potential positive and negative outcomes. That would be good to have. And Thrill Seeker, chance to gain energy after any engage action. Interesting. Right, so we need something soon, and this might be our best option, but even so, this is gonna be risky. Well, we can at least get a little more energy out of this. Oh. The glass shatters on the steel bar beside you, and the taunts don't take long to follow. Hey, Haunt! The spacer calls across the low room. What are you doing here? Playing human? I'm just gonna ignore him. You hunch a little further, staring at the hundreds of tiny impact points that scar the bar's surface. A hand falls on your shoulder, but as you flinch away, it pats reassuringly. You freeze in place. Out! The voice comes from behind you, spat out like a shot. You turn to see bright eyes, dark hair, a stare that could breach the wall and vent you all into hard vacuum. As you turn back to the spacer, the second glass comes sailing through the air. Catch it. You reach up a hand and the glass shatters across your forearm, showering you in fragments. Through the haze of glass and Girol vapor, you see Tala leap the bar and close the distance to the spacer. The thud as he slams into the wall echoes around the bar like thunder. Now flanked by other figures, quick to their feet, Talus throws the spacer out through the door and stands silhouetted against the rotunda lights. You touch your arm, and it feels wet. Someone helps you to your feet and back into your stool. Broken glass rattles as it is cleaned, and a fresh measure of Gerol is glugged out in front of you. That same hand, warm, heavy, falls on your shoulder once more. He isn't coming back. He isn't coming back. We don't tolerate that kind of shit here. Tala flops onto the stool beside you. Let's get a look at you. Tala wipes the powdered glass from around the wound, and someone places a bottle of alcohol in a metal tin with tweezers on the bar. She disinfects them, and then turns to you. That was an ambitious catch. She smiles, pulling a sliver of glass from your forearm. Stupid, but ambitious. You don't feel the pain, only the string of status messages your body delivers concerning dermal damage and exposed structures. You do feel the care, though, as Tala's bright eyes search your thick synthetic skin for splinters. Watch her. Tala works with the skill of someone who has had to pick glass splinters from the skin of a stranger before. She hones in on each bright shard, all the time tapping the tweezer tips in little rhythms that only she can follow. Tala smiles to herself. So, you been on the eye long? Just arrived. I thought so. I've only seen you here a couple of times. A splinter clinks into the tin. Not everyone is like that, idiot. We don't all hate you. She glances around. Some of the regulars... Maybe they fear you, maybe they're just curious. I don't know, but I do know that the Overlook is a safe place. I know what it's like to be new in this place, trust me. She meets your eye. I'm not trying to convince you of anything or separate you from your chits. I just want you to know that if you need somewhere, you can always come here. I know the rations we've got aren't much, and the company is... limited. But if you need work, I'll happily put you behind the bar, and if you need shelter, well... we can discuss that. You'll be safe. I usually have Francis on the door, but he's up in the Greenway this cycle, haggling with our supplier. Francis tends to be particular about what we serve, even if the clientele isn't. She places her tweezers in the tin with a clink. That's you, Sleeper. Here. She slides the glass of Gerol to you. This'll help. She stops, her hand on the glass. Wait. Does this help? I mean, can you... get drunk? No idea. Well, keep trying. I'll let you know if I see any difference. She walks back around the bar, gathering the glasses as she does, and before long is retelling how she threw that spacer out to a new group that just wandered in, complete with dramatic actions. She gestures in your direction, and you instinctively look away, back to the worn surface of the bar. You take a sip of the Gerol. The earthy, fungal tones fill your senses, almost blocking out sight and sound, like diving headfirst into a bog. You may not be able to get drunk, but this connection to something grown, something fermented, something old, feels good. So if we go here now, we can still buy rations, can't buy a drink, but we also have bar shift. Tala is as good as her word and happy to throw a shift or two your way. The pay isn't great, but tips can make all the difference. And if we get 8 points from the clock, we'll get good service. The Overlook clientele can be a tough crowd, but you have Tala's backing, and that means a lot. Okay. So, we don't have much positive that we can do. And we need to find things. I think what we're gonna do, I'll do one more search on the Rotunda. Long as we don't get a negative, I think we'll be good. Okay. That's the end of the Rotunda. Sealed dock. Oh. These old maglocks look like they each need an encrypted key to open. Why the heavy security for a decaying dock? 2 maglocks seal the entryway to this dock. Doesn't look like anyone has been inside for years. Unfortunately, we can't do anything with that. And with a 3 and a 2... well, we can try another risky for the Intuit. Oh, that was a fail. And that one's a 50-50. Well, may as well try it. Well, we got a little local knowledge. It's not much, but it's... Oh, hello. Sabine. Next! Comes the call from the enforcer at the door. You shuffle down the flickering hallway towards the open apartment door. You keep your head down and your shoulders high in the queue, trying not to bring attention to yourself. You were thankful for the tip-off that a doctor was operating out of this place, but now that you're here, you aren't so sure. The gang enforcer on the door, the flickering light strips, the decaying hab block, they've all made the long queue a test of your nerve. But your options are few, and without a supply of stabilizer, this body, your body, will... You suppress a shiver and shuffle forward to the front of the queue. You try to find something to distract yourself. Look at the enforcer. The enforcer is looking down the corridor, and you dare to glance at him. His purpose is unmistakable. He's there to intimidate, to threaten, and if necessary, carry out those threats. His broad shoulders are framed with a metal exoskeleton. A couple of mirror-like implants sit below his eyes like mercury teardrops, subsidiary sense input or aesthetic markers you aren't sure. You also aren't familiar with the geometric blade-like tattoo on his arm, but you make note of it. You avert your eyes when he looks back at the queue. After a few moments, a figure pushes through the doorway, and you catch a distant voice. Send the next one in, Toshiro. The enforcer jerks his head, and you slip inside, passing through the dark entryway and pushing through the plastic sheeting on the far door. The room beyond is bathed in warm light. A floor-to-ceiling transparent panel gives a full view of the bright marked sealed roof and the buzzing traffic above, and for a moment you are transfixed by the motion. Come, sit, calls a sharp voice, and you see a silhouetted figure turned away, replacing the plastic sheeting over the frame of a simple folding bed. You make your way across the room. The figure turns, and as they do, you see an expression of confusion flash across their features. They open their mouth as if to speak. They blink, and then quickly regain their composure. Please, sit. They gesture to the bed, then turn to an open case of tools on the table. You sit. Sabine turns, a compact diagnostic scanner of some kind in their hand. They hold it to their eye. Remain still, please. Their tone is clipped and businesslike. You stare ahead, still dazed from their expression when you first entered. Fear, recognition, sadness, unmistakably etched across their face. How long have you been on the station? They ask, the scanner still to their eye. A few cycles. Excuse me. They nod. It's good you came to me. They set the diagnostic scanner on the table. I'm going to start by assuming you don't know anything. They take your arm and roll up your sleeve, inspecting your synthetic skin. Your body is dying. They say it without ceremony, without drama, but not without empathy. SNARP doesn't like to see its proprietary technology let loose, to prevent bodies like yours, frames as they call them, from being stolen, repurposed, or in your case, escaping. They built in a process of so-called planned obsolescence. Frames decay rapidly when not regularly injected with stabilizer, one which SNARP remains the sole producer of. They look up. Sound familiar? Yes. Good. That may help. They swapped your other arm, running some thin metal device over your skin. You feel your forearm tremble. I'm sorry, Sabine says, and you are unsure if they mean for the cold touch of the metal or everything else. Emulations like you, sleepers, as most people know you, aren't classified as people in any of the surrogate systems. You have no rights, no status. They focus hard on the inspection of your arm. And SNARP has no reason to release stabilizer into the market. Sabine looks up as if to apologize again, but they stop themselves. I know little of this is of use to you. They turn away, disassembling the metal instrument and cleaning it. Silence fills the room as Sabine works, and then the silence gives way to tension. You stare at their back, willing them to say something. Anything. Sabine turns to face you. I may be able to help. They sigh, and you see the darkness under their eyes, hear the fatigue in their voice. They gesture to the door. You saw Toshiro outside. You nod. He works for my benefactor, Yatagan. They are influential in the low end. They give me this space to work, run the door, and take the profits. At the same time, I have to fix up their enforcers, tend to their implants, sew up their wounds. But Yatagan has connections. Smugglers from the Starward Belt, mercenaries working for the corporations on Ember. If they can source the stabilizer, maybe you'll have a better chance. Sabine sets down their slate, their notes complete. This is dangerous, and it'll be expensive. But I think we can do it. Why help me? Sabine walks away to the window, their face dappled by the shadows of passing drones. Let's just see if this works first. I'll let you know when I have a lead. You nod and leave, Sabine still staring out, unmoving. When you reach the lower level of the market, you look back up through the panels of the roof to see if you can see their face, but the room looks dark against the lights of the market. You duck your head and walk off into the crowd. Sabine thinks they can source some stabilizer through Yatagan, but it is going to take a few cycles. 3 cycles. We gotta survive this 3 cycles. It's gonna be a rough 3 cycles, but we may as well rest. Excuse me. Again, the skeletal ring of the station fills your mind. It sparkles with glittering lights, like stars reflected in a winter lake. It is clearer, crisper than before. The threads still pull, but you remain in place, flickering in the flow. Between the threads you see bright shapes, caches of shimmering light beneath transparent crystal forms. You follow the path of a thread across the ring, through these forms, then leap off into the void. You begin to understand. These are nodes and connections, a map of information, of communication. There are so many layers, so many loops, that it seems almost impossible to parse. But you begin to try. Focus on the threads. There are more threads than you can count. You choose one that passes nearby and approach it. As you inspect it, you understand why you instinctively chose the word thread when you first saw them. They are not single lines, but rough, fuzzy things woven from data strings of all kinds. The threads and nodes, passages and puzzle boxes, one leads to another. There's so much here, so many answers, so many questions. All you need to do is follow the paths and open the boxes. You look out across this ghost landscape of exchange and see an opportunity. But then that insistent tugging again, pulling at you. You look down again and see 2 lines, 2 threads pulling in different directions, as if they were tied around you. Let's look at the first. The first thread leads out, away from the station, into the inky black. Someone out there is tracking you, hunting you, following the thread to you. They are in a ship, and the ship is approaching ever closer with each cycle. What about the second? The second thread leads in, pulling deep into the station. Your gaze follows it, and this time you see something. A sphere, shimmering above a strange, angular body. A pulse shoots out from it, passing over you like a torch beam, testing you, tasting you. You open your eyes. Time is short. Someone out there is tracking you, following your trail. It won't be long before they arrive. Something has changed inside you. You can now access the data cloud of the Eye, a network of decaying protocols and data caches. While there, you can use dice and items to access systems and extract data. But be careful, these networks are old and strange. Click the Eye button at the top of the screen to toggle this view on and off. And there we have the view of things that we can do here. The Havenage Cipher. This gate keeps traffic out of the Havenage shipyard's internal network. The correct cipher can grant you access. Okay. Keynode. The data here is part of a... Oh. Data actions allow you to extract data from the networks of the eye. They work like dice actions, but in order to unlock them, you must match your dice to the one displayed on the right of the action. If you have a +1 or 2 modifier on the interface skill, you'll be given more possible dice to match. You can use any dice that matches the dice displayed. Once unlocked, data can be extracted. The data here is part of a cache tucked away during the collapse. Who did this, and for what purpose? A lone connection feeds into this isolated node. Its last access timestamp is 1,000 cycles ago. Oh, Solheim Gate. This gate conceals a network of systems which have been untouched since the Solheim collapse. This node is orbited by the remains of a corporate countermeasure broken long ago by hackers. Interesting. Havenage agent. A Havenage member is broadcasting on the open network from here, leaving them open to data extraction. This node pulses faintly as it mines cryo at a glacial pace, abandoned by the hacker that repurposed it. And some gang enforces implants are chirping out comm signals. Time to see what they're talking about. That's a Yatagan agent. Unfortunately, we can't do anything at the moment. Partially because I need money and I need food, so I can buy food. But also partially because in order to do any of those hackings, you need a 1, 2, or 3. And we don't have that. Well, we can get money from Dragos' yard. Let's at least do some hull dissection. That gets us a load of money, which should be enough that we can actually get some rations here. There we go, 2 energy, that's something. And you know what? With this +1 interface, we can rewire the drones. Ah! Ship shape per cycle. So with that, if we just wait 8 cycles, this will get better. I mean, we could come back sometime in the future, but that'll help out a lot. So we still have a 4. I feel like money is something we're going to need, but we need to uncover more here, and I think we can. Let's explore the market. As long as we don't get a negative. Oh, of course we got a negative. And now we're starving, so we gotta spend the last of our money. Well, we're gonna be doing bar shifts and such next chance we get. That's all we can do. Let's rest. Okay. Oh! As you close up, a voice echoes down the corridor towards you. Sleeper, wait up! Turn. Fang is coming down the corridor towards you, a wonky grin on his broad face. Hey, glad I caught you. Do I know you? You do now. He puts a hand on your arm. I've seen you hanging around. I just want to chat. You staying in that thing? He nods back to the container, shaking his head. Rough. It can be hard to get a start on the eye. He looks away down the passage. What was it old Erlen said? The eye opens for us all? Nice idea, but, well, not always very practical. We do our best, but it isn't easy. We. You pass together into the main walkway. Havenage. We're all one dysfunctional family. Fang puts an arm around you. I'm not part of the security branch, though. Don't worry. I'm with systems. Havenage. Think of us as an administrative association for the Eye. Depending on who you talk to, we either emerged as a response to or a continuation of Andre Erlen's original union. Personally, I avoid the topic. He stops you in the quiet passage. Look, that's not what I'm here to discuss. I've been seeing some unusual network activity and, well, I know a little about you sleepers. I have a small proposition for you. But, this is not the place for it. I have an office just across the way. Give me a cycle or two to prepare, then, when you are settled, stop by. He lowers his voice and gives you a dark look. In truth, I need you. If what they say is true about you sleepers, well, there's work to be done. He pats you on the back, his voice bright and his dark look suddenly gone. Stay clean, sleeper. He walks off down the passage, raising a hand in farewell. Interesting. He says a cycle or two. One more cycle and we should have something there. Well, I'll tell you what. We'll do this cycle in the next episode. Because it's gone on about long enough. I'm fine pausing it here. Next episode, we'll see if we can take care of a few more things. Till then, I am Chester44, also known as Fly. This has been a Let's Play of Citizen Sleeper, and I shall see you all next time.